Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear friends at Bhakti Center. I am very grateful to all of you for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you this morning. I have been asked to read one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the 10th canto, chapter 1, and verse number 14. Shri Suta Goswami is speaking to the sages who have assembled at the forest of Naimisharanya to listen to the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Suta Goswami was present when Shri Shukdev Goswami was addressing King Parikshit during the last 7 days of his life. So now Suta Goswami has come to Naimisharanya forest and he is narrating Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages who have assembled there. So Shri Suta Uvacha Evam Nishamya Bhrigunandana Sadhuvadam Vayasaki sa Bhagavan atha Vishnuratam Pratyarcha Krishna Charitam Kalikalmashagnam Vyaharatum Arabhata Bhagavata Pradhanaha. Translation and purport by our beloved founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Translation. Suta Goswami said, O son of Bhrigu, after Shukdev Goswami, the most respectable devotee, the son of Lord Vyasadeva, heard the pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, he thanked the king with great respect. Then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Purport. In this verse, the words Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmashagnam indicate that the activities of Lord Krishna are certainly the greatest panacea for all sufferings, especially in this age of Kali. So this, my dear friends, this sentence will be the theme of our discussion today. And also in the verse itself, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that topics of Krishna are the remedy for all sufferings. So this will be the theme for today's discussion. It is said that in Kali Yuga, people have only short lives and they have no culture of spiritual consciousness. If anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, he is misled by many bogus swamis and yogis who do not refer to Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha means the topics about Krishna, Krishna's different activities and pastimes. That is Krishna Katha. Therefore, most people are unfortunate and disturbed by many calamities. Srila Vyasadeva prepared Srimad Bhagavatam at the request of Shripad Narada Muni in order to give relief to the suffering people of this age. Kali Kalmashagnam. Kali means the current age where we have so much quarrel, we have so much hypocrisy. And Kalmasha means all the problems of Kali Yuga, and Gnam means to destroy them. So Kali Kalmashagnam. Krishna Katha means topics of Krishna, Krishna's pastimes. They destroy the ill effects of the present age. The Krishna consciousness movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people through the pleasing topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is being accepted in all spheres of life, especially in advanced educated circles. So, my dear friends, here Srila Prabhupada is writing, this Krishna consciousness movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people. So this knowledge or enlightenment is very important in life. See, recently I bought a car, and that car has several driver assistance features like lane departure warning, lane keeping assistance, adaptive cruise control. But unless one knows how to use those features, one may have all those features in the car, but if one does not know how to properly use them to our advantage, then we will miss out. So therefore, knowledge is required. Now we have got this physical body, we have got mind and intelligence. Now, how do we use our power of speech? How do we use our body? All this is knowledge. And this knowledge comes from the Holy Scriptures. Once we have this knowledge, then we can make the most of this very complex and beautiful device or gadget called the human body. It is the most advanced operating system. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is being accepted, especially in the advanced educated circles. My dear friends, when Srila Prabhupada was in Alachua, Florida, and he was making a presentation at a university, a reporter asked that, Swamiji, I am noticing that many youth, young boys and girls, they are taking to Krishna consciousness. They have become your followers. Can you please explain the reason? And Srila Prabhupada replied, the same reason that in this university campus, there are so many young boys and girls. Because university is a place of enlightenment. University is a place of learning. And so is Krishna consciousness movement. Just see, here Srila Prabhupada is saying the Krishna consciousness movement is engaged in enlightening people. Next paragraph. Srila Shukdev Goswami is described in this verse as Bhagavata Pradhana, whereas Maharaj Parikshit is described as Vishnu Ratam. Both words bear the same meaning. That is, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of Krishna, and therefore he was protected by Krishna. And Shukadev Goswami was also a great saintly person and a great devotee of Krishna. Bhagavat means a great devotee, and Pradhan means the chief. Combined together to present Krishna Katha, they give great relief to suffering humanity. See, this combination, my dear friends, is very, very important. A good student, a qualified student, a sincere student, and a qualified and very competent teacher. And Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with different samavad. Samvad means conversations. See, here in this verse, if we go up, the word is used. Sadhu Vadam. Sadhu Vadam. So these are questions and answers between two great personalities. And wherever two great personalities come and they discuss, the conversation is worth hearing and worth studying, because we can benefit from the wisdom of those great personalities. So combined together to present Krishna Katha, they can give relief to human suffering, humanity who is suffering. Anartho Pashamam Sakshad Bhakti Yogam Adhokshaje Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. And what is this linking process of devotional service? It is yoga, bhakti yoga. Like we have our bhakti center. Same thing. Linking process of devotional service. How to link to the supreme consciousness. That process is called bhakti yoga. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in relationship to the supreme truth. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.6. People in general are unaware that the message of Srimad Bhagavatam can give all of human society relief from the pangs of Kali Yuga. Kali Kalma Shagnam. So I have a quick question. I'm just curious. When I was in New York in 2009, I remember we used to attend all the Sunday programs. They used to be at 10 o'clock. And Ghanasham Prabhu and Rasnath Prabhu would together sit and they would speak. And they were discussing, I remember, first canto. They were discussing the prayers of Bhishma Dev from the first canto. So have you all at Bhakti Center gone through all the cantos since then, since 2009?
We are we are in 10th canto now, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we are done with the purport. So I'll stop the screen share. And now we can get started with our discussion. So the main theme of today's discussion is that we must hear about Krishna, isn't it? That was the crux of the discussion, that we must hear about Krishna. We must hear Krishna Katha. We must hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but Krishna Katha. So why? Why should we do this? In this regard, dear friends, I would like to narrate a small story in the next 10-15 minutes. This is a true story that happened in South India several centuries ago. So there was a man, his name was Vishnu Chitta. And one day he went to the temple in the line of the Sri Vaishnavas, the famous line of Shripad Ramanujacharya. He went to a Sri Vaishnava temple in South India, and there was a Bhagavatam class going on. There was Krishna Katha going on. So Vishnu Chitta sat down and he very sincerely heard the class, the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And what was the topic of discussion that day? It was chapter number 40 of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in the first chapter. They were discussing chapter number 40th, where Krishna, he comes to Mathura from Vrindavan. And there a very beautiful pastime was being narrated. It was described in Srimad Bhagavatam, in that class, that when Krishna, along with Balram and his cowherd friends and his father, Nanda Maharaj, he was invited by King Kansa to come and participate in a wrestling match. So Krishna came from Vrindavan to Mathura. When Krishna came, when he entered Mathura, as he was walking along the road, he met several people. And this was being described in Srimad Bhagavatam class that day, when Vishnu Chitta was listening to the class. And it was described that first Krishna came and he met Kubja. Kubja was the perfume maker in Mathura. And she used to make exquisite organic perfumes for Kansa, the best quality perfumes. And Krishna requested her for some perfumes and she gave the best perfumes. So these were perfumes, they were actually fragrant oils that had to be smeared on the body. And some of them were even pastes made from different fragrant herbs. So Krishna's complexion is very dark. So Kubja gave Krishna very bright colored perfumes. She said, Krishna, these bright yellow, bright orange perfumes will look very good. The contrast will be very good. So you take these perfumes. And for Balram, she gave dark perfumes. That Balramji, this dark blue or this black perfume will look very good on your, because Balramji is very fair. Balramji is like a September cloud, September white cloud. And Krishna is like a monsoon dark cloud. So she gave very contrasting perfumes to them and personally applied those perfumes on their body, smeared them and decorated them. And Krishna blessed her. Krishna made her extremely beautiful and most importantly, internally gave her pure love of Godhead, pure Krishna Prem. So Kubja became very happy. Then Krishna went ahead and Krishna met two more persons. Krishna met Kansa's washerman. And unfortunately, we don't have time to discuss that pastime. And then Krishna met a weaver who used to weave cloth for Kansa. And he was very hospitable to Krishna. And he got blessed by Krishna. Then Srimad Bhagavatam describes that Krishna, even without being invited, on his own, Krishna went to the house of a devotee. And the name of this devotee was Sudama. So Krishna, along with Balram and his friends, on his own goes to the house of a devotee, of a person called Sudama in Mathura. So there are three Sudamas, my dear friends. There are three Sudamas. The first Sudama is Sudama of Vrindavan. He is the friend of Krishna. Remember Sudama, Shridam, Madhumangal, Stoka Krishna. All these are friends of Krishna in Vrindavan. That is the first Sudama. Second Sudama is the Sudama of Mathura, about whom we are going to discuss today. And the third Sudama is Sudama, who was Krishna's classmate in the school of Sandipani Muni and who went to Dwarka, the poor Brahman Sudama who went to Dwarka and got blessed. So there are three Sudamas in the 10th canto. Okay, so we are talking about the second Sudama, the Sudama of Mathura. So Krishna went to the house of this devotee called Sudama. And what was the profession of Sudama? Sudama was a garland maker. He would take beautiful, fresh, fragrant flowers and he would make very intricate, beautiful garlands, just like the garlands that are offered to Radha Murlidhar and Shri Gauranga. Beautiful garlands with nice color combination, very soft. The wearer of the garlands will feel a very nice, soft sensation, and they will be very fragrant and fresh. They will infuse very positive energy in whoever accepts those garlands. So this Sudama used to make garlands with great love. And as soon as Krishna and Balram came to his house, he immediately stood up. He said, Krishna, Balram, you have come to my house. I did not even invite you. There are so many rich aristocratic people in Mathura. Instead of going there, you chose to come to my house. Today, my life has become successful. My entire family dynasty has become successful. See, nowadays, people are very curious to know about their ancestry. Ancestry.com, and it's like the very popular New Year's gift. People want to know, how did my ancestors come to the US? I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling, do you know, my grandfather's grandfather, he came on this particular ship, and when they entered this country, they came with just few dollars. He was telling me very, very happily. So people take great interest in knowing about their ancestors, their family. And the Sudama is saying that Krishna and Balram, just because you have set your lotus feet in my house, my parents, my grandparents, all my ancestors, they have become liberated because you have come to this house. Please come, please come. And he took a simple mat, like we have the yoga mat, very simple mat made of grass. And he laid down two mats and he asked Krishna Balram, please have a seat. He did not have anything in his house. There was no food. He was a very simple, poor devotee, but he had some water. So he immediately went and got some water from the sweet water of the river Yamuna. And he offered Krishna and Balram some water. Please drink some water. Please sit comfortably. And what do I have? What can I offer you? And he saw that he had made beautiful garlands that day. He said, let me offer these garlands to you, Krishna and Balram. And he took the best garlands, and he offered one garland to Krishna. He offered the second garland to Balram. And then he had many other garlands. And he looked at Krishna's friends. He said, wait, I have a garland for each and every one of you. And immediately he took nice fragrant garlands and gave away all his garlands to Krishna's friends. So here it is very instructive. Krishna is God. Balramji represents the spiritual master, the Adi Guru Tattva, spiritual master. And the friends of Krishna, they represents the general devotees. So what Sudama is teaching us, we should not just focus on Radha Murlidhar and Gauranga, but we should also focus on our spiritual teachers and our devotee friends in general. All three categories are important: God, spiritual master, and our devotee friends. Sudama gave equal love and attention and respect to all three categories: Krishna, Balram, and their friends. Krishna was so pleased with this simple offering of just a sitting place, few sweet words of welcome, genuine happiness that Sudama experienced when Krishna came, gave some water and garlands. There is another lesson here, my dear friends, which I really like very much. Krishna is so merciful. Just analyze Krishna. Krishna accepts from us what we are good at. For example, if someone is into software or information technology, they can offer their skills to Krishna. If someone is a lawyer, they can offer their skills to Krishna in some service. If someone is a physician, they can offer their core competence. Whatever is our core competence, whatever is our particular skill set, whether we are a chef, whether we can stitch clothes, like our Prabhuji is doing so nicely. First time I came to Bhakti Center, I thought Prabhuji is cooking. I thought he's cutting some vegetables. So I told my mom that Prabhuji was listening so attentively. He was cooking, wearing an apron. And my mom said, no, you don't understand anything. He was not cooking. He was stitching clothes. Prabhu, are you stitching clothes? Yes. Okay. So my mom was right. I thought you're chopping some vegetables in the kitchen, cooking breakfast for all the devotees.
I'm trying to stay awake in class. I've been up all night with the guests.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So whatever is our core competence, whatever is our skill set, we can use that in Krishna's service. An example. What did Krishna ask Kubja? Kubja was a perfume maker. Krishna did not ask Kubja for flower garlands. Krishna asked her, just give me some perfume. And Krishna did not ask Sudama, give me perfumes. Krishna told him, just give me some garlands. So, my dear friends, we are all loved by Krishna. Whatever talent we have, whatever ability we have, God-given ability, we can use it for Krishna's service and Krishna will accept it. In Ramayana, Shabri gave just some fruits because all she knew was to go and pluck fruits from the forest. She gave fruits. What did Hanumanji do? Hanumanji gave his military strength and his fighting ability in the service of Lord Ram. So whatever is our ability, we can use it in Krishna's service, and this is the beauty of bhakti. We don't have to be like anyone else. We can be ourselves in bhakti, and Krishna will be most pleased with us. So Sudama offered garlands, and Krishna was very, very happy. And Krishna spoke a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, I am very pleased with this offering of flower garlands. Now, let's go back to where we started. Vishnu Chitta is a simple person who is listening to this Bhagavatam class. This is the first Bhagavatam class he is listening to. And he hears that Krishna was very pleased when he was offered a garland. And this one point, Vishnu Chitta grasped. He said, oh, Krishna is very happy if someone offers him garlands. He said, that's it. Now that is the mission of my life. He caught this one point from the Bhagavatam class, from the lecture. And then the Bhagavatam class continued, and it is said that Krishna was so pleased that he told Sudama, ask me for any benediction. And Sudama said, I want three things. And our Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas, they explain that these three things that Sudama asked for, they are the best prayer, best thing to ask. If we have to pray for something, these are the three things that we should pray. Would all of you like to know what the three things are that Sudama asked? Okay. So first, Sudama asked for pure devotion and love for Krishna. Number one. Number two, Sudama then asked that let me have very intimate, loving friendship with all your devotees. And number three, let me have genuine compassion and affection for all living entities. I do not want to envy anyone. I want to have compassion and just good wishes for everyone. So first is, I want to have genuine love and devotion for you, Krishna. I want to have genuine loving friendship with all your devotees. And number three, I want to have a genuine spirit of compassion and care for all living entities. Krishna was so pleased. Krishna said, this is a perfect prayer. And I grant you all these three benedictions. Krishna gave all these three benedictions, and Krishna was willing to give these benedictions simply because Krishna was pleased by a simple offering of flower garlands. Something that this Sudama made every day. Nothing special. But he offered with love, and Krishna was pleased. So Vishnu Chitta, who is listening to this Bhagavatam class few hundred years ago. Now this happened 5,000 years ago when Krishna was on the planet. Now few hundred years ago in South India, in a temple, this man, Vishnu Chitta, is listening to this Bhagavatam class. And he grasped this one point that Krishna is very pleased if I offer him garlands with devotion. He said, that's what I want to do. He went and he cultivated a garden, and he got a deity of Krishna. And every day he would take beautiful, beautiful, different colors, different fragrances, flowers. He would arrange them in a very nice way. and he would make nice garland and offer one beautiful garland every day to Krishna. But it used to be an exquisite garland. And the more he did it, practice makes a man perfect. The more he did it, he got better and better at making garlands. And he became so filled with devotion because Krishna was so pleased with his offering that something very interesting happened. The king of that area is called, I'm forgetting the name of that area. I'm forgetting. It was some dynasty. I'm forgetting the name of the dynasty. But in South India, whoever the king was of that region, he decided that I want to have a guru. And therefore, he told his ministers, find the best guru for me. Find the best guru for me. So the minister said, well, let's call all the spiritual leaders and let's have a debate. Whoever wins the debate is the greatest saint and he should be our guru. So there was an advertisement in the kingdom that all the great spiritual sadhus, all the great spiritual leaders, please come to the court of the king and there is going to be a discussion. And whoever appears most learned, that person will be accepted by the king as the king's spiritual master. So Vishnu Chitta heard this advertisement, this announcement, and he was least interested. He said, why should I go and debate and show myself off as a great learned spiritualist? No. I'm happy just cultivating flowers in the garland and making nice in the garden and making nice garlands for my Lord. But his deity, his Vishnu deity, spoke to him. He said, I want you to go to the court of the king and I want you to engage in a spiritual discussion there. Go. So in the assembly, when that discussion, that debate took place, there were very great learned scholars who had studied all the Vedas, all the Upanishads, all the Puranas, and they were dressed very nicely. They were wearing nice tilak. They were wearing silk clothes, nice dhoti kurta, and they came very nicely dressed. And here is Vishnu Chitta. He just got up from his garden. His dhoti was muddy from doing gardening work. His hands were muddy. And he was a very simple fellow. He just went, he walks into that assembly where all learned people are there. And there is a nice discussion. And when the time comes for Vishnu Chitta to speak, he closed his eyes, he meditated on his Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan, and he spoke from his heart about his love for God. He just spoke about his love for God and how God reciprocates. And when he spoke with simplicity and from his heart, everyone was so deeply affected by it that all the scholars, they unanimously said that we are nothing compared to this Vishnu Chitta. He is so spiritually advanced. He is so close to God. Therefore, we think he is the winner and he should be accepted by the king as the spiritual master. And the king came and fell at the lotus feet of Vishnu Chitta and gave him a palace just like his own, that you stay in this palace and you be the spiritual guide for me and my family. Vishnu Chitta said, I will be the spiritual guide for you and your family because that is the order I received from Lord Narayan, but I will not stay in the palace. I am very happy staying with my Lord Narayan in my simple cottage. So he went back. So every day he would come to the palace and he would give Bhagavatam class to the king and the king's family and all the ministers. He would advise them, he would guide them spiritually, and then he would go into the garden, get on his knees and start gardening and make the garland. And he was so simple. And every year on his birthday, on Vyas Puja, the king would call the royal elephant and he would ask Vishnu Chitta to sit on the royal elephant, and a big parade, a big procession would go the whole kingdom glorifying the king's guru. And Vishnu Chitta would be sitting there and he would be just closing his eyes and remembering his Lord. And one day when he was sitting on that elephant in the royal procession, he saw that Lord Vishnu came from the sky sitting on his carrier Garudji. Sitting on Garud, Lord Vishnu himself came to see. And Vishnu Chitta, nobody else could see this. Only Vishnu Chitta could see his Lord. And he was talking to the Lord. Vishnu Chitta told the Lord, my dear Lord, why did you come to this material world? This material world is a very dangerous place. There is birth, old age, disease, death. Why did you come here? And Lord tells him from the back of Garuda, from the sky, my dear Vishnu Chitta, it is your Vyasa Puja. It is your birthday. And I came to see you. I came to join in the celebrations. I love you so much. And Vishnu Chitta had Vatsalya Bhav for the Lord, means he considered Lord his child. And he considered himself the father of the Lord. He said, no, 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 my dear Vishnu, you should not come here. This world is a very dangerous place. You immediately go back home, back to Godhead. So Vishnu Chitta is telling God to go back home, back to Godhead. That was a sweet relationship between Vishnu Chitta and the Lord. And Vishnu Chitta also cultivated a garden of Tulsi plants. And one day he was in his garden of Tulsi plants, picking up some Tulsi leaves. And under a Tulsi plant, he saw a very beautiful little girl, baby girl. And he immediately picked up the girl. He looked here and there was no one with her. So he understood that this girl is a gift to me by Lord Narayan. So he brought up that girl with great love and affection. We are running out of time, but there are so many beautiful pastimes. But this girl, she grew to become Ondol. And Ondol is the only female Alwar of the Sri Sampradaya. She became a very great devotee, and she had such intense love for the Lord that Lord Ranganath, there is a very famous temple in South India of Lord Ranganath. Lord Ranganath came in the dream of the Pujari and said, I want to marry Ondol, that young girl. I want to marry her. So go, send a procession and bring her here. I want to marry her. So Vishnu Chitta's daughter, Ondol, she was brought to Sri Ranganath temple, and she was brought in front of Lord Ranganath. And Lord Ranganath looked at her with so much love, and she looked at Lord Ranganath with so much love. From her childhood, she was writing poems, beautiful songs, in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan, glorifying Lord Ranganath. And as soon as Lord Ranganath saw her and she saw Lord Ranganath, she walked up to the altar and she embraced the lotus feet of Lord Ranganath to her heart. And immediately she merged into Lord Ranganath and she disappeared from this world. Such a divine daughter this Vishnu Chitta had. And how did Vishnu Chitta capture the heart of the Lord? Simply by making flower garlands. And where did he get the inspiration to make flower garlands from? He got the inspiration from one Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is the power of Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is the value, this is the importance of listening to Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So I'm very happy that our Bhakti Center is organizing these classes regularly. And I'm very inspired to see all of you regularly participating. I will end my presentation here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All the devotees of Bhakti Center ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Adi Gadadhar Prabhu ki jai to you. Thank you so much. Beautiful presentation, and thanks for pausing on time. Adi Purusha Prabhu, would you like to contribute? Are you still awake or are you sleep talking?
Yeah, by your grace, I'm still awake. Fantastic class. You know, we know the principle that we may have austerity, we may have scriptural knowledge and, know so many shlokas, but without love, Krishna says, I'll accept even a drop of water or a leaf if it's offered with love. And we can see that your heart is overflowing with love for Krishna. Your spiritual master is empowering you to show us by your example that, love of Krishna is actually the thing that satisfies the heart.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Adi Purush Prabhu.
Glories to Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhu.
Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, you mentioned something about Alawars. What is Alawar?
Alwars, they are the great spiritual teachers and great saints in the Sri Sampradaya, in the line of Sripad Ramanujacharya. I think Bhima Prabhu is showing a book. Bhima Prabhu, can you show that book on the Alwars?
Haribo, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear and see you.
Yes, So I want, you mentioned how that one class led to the simple flower garland maker, to have a daughter who was Ondol, and who we have to also understand that she wrote poetry. Hold on, I can't pronounce. Do you know the name of the long poem that she wrote?
No, Prabhu, I don't know the name.
Okay, hold on. Oh, shoot. I thought it was right on the cover. But anyways, it's some of the most beautiful love poetry ever. Ondol, who is considered to be an extension of Lakshmi Devi, and Radharani, and her poetry is unbelievable. And this here is translated by two devotees in the Sri Sampradaya line, Chabriya and Ravi Shankar. Okay, and anybody who loves beautiful things and want to help facilitate their own ras. This is a wonderful book. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for mentioning for Ondal and the All of Ours, who are a great lineage of Bhakti Yoga way back. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Not everybody knows, but Bhima is a poet, and he has a poetry ministry, and he inspires people to glorify the Lord with poetic verses.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, Bhima Prabhu is our own Alawar.
No, I'm the
share your
I'm the all
sometime.
aware. I'm the be aware of me. Be all aware of the fact that you must stay away from me, and everything will be just fine. And I will look on from afar.
So in Kali Yuga, Bhima has put down the club and picked up the poet's pen.
Yeah, Bhima Das.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Would anyone else like to share, ask a question, contribute to class in any way? Maybe a reflection, something that they like. I like the point how Krishna accepts what we're good at. That's really good. Okay, we have Emily.
Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. Sorry, was Emily going to go?
Oh, you should go first. I was just going to ask something if nobody else did. Please go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, mine is just really quick reflection. I really loved when you made sure to repeat the three things that are a really genuine prayer that we should ask of Krishna. It really resonated for me, because sometimes we get so stuck in asking Krishna, at least I get stuck, almost like a laundry list of things for him to help with. And then these three things that you shared about the pure love and devotion for Krishna, intimate loving friendships with devotees, compassion and affection for all living entities, that is just such a genuine prayer that I appreciate, kind of like that reminder to ask Krishna for things like that, as opposed to just giving Krishna a shopping list. So thank you so much. Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I would like to give you the verse where Sudama asks for these three blessings in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 41. I think it is verse number 47 or 48. Either 47 or 48. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 41, verse number either 47 or 48. A very beautiful verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm so glad that Andrea mentioned these three prayers that you had brought up from Sudama. I was also going to mention how lovely that was, and thank you so much for mentioning. Quick question. On the last one, praying for compassion and affection for all living entities, what would you say is a scale of how do I reflect on myself, where I am, and kind of gauge how much compassion and affection I'm currently having?
Compassion, that's a very good question. Compassion can be on different levels. There can be compassion on the level of the body, on the level of the mind, and on the level of the soul. When we give in charity, or we distribute Krishna Prasad to those who need it, or we give some help to someone on a bodily level to make life a little less stressful, little more comfortable for them, that is compassion on the level of the body. When we are kind to people, which we must be, when we speak to them sweetly, words that are pleasing to the heart, words that don't agitate, when we are kind and compassionate, that is compassion on the level of the mind and emotions, which is important also. And the deepest and the greatest compassion is compassion on all three levels: on the level of the body, on the level of the mind, and on the level of the soul. And the greatest compassion to the soul is to connect everyone with Krishna in some form. Krishna appears in many forms, but to somehow or the other connect people to Krishna, bring them closer to Krishna, that would be the greatest compassion. That would be the complete compassion. So we should judge ourselves or assess ourselves, our compassion on that scale. There are three levels, and the best is one that combines all three. Is that okay? Does that make sense?
That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Emily.
Emily is calling in from Samadhi. It sounds like she's in bliss, right?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Krishna, you're next. Krishna, ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear. Perfect. Well, so Prabhu, about Sudama, the three things, that was very nice. That's the first time I heard. So thank you, Prabhu, and please bless us that we can pray to Krishna, like those three things, Prabhu. But thank you so much. We learned a lot from this class. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Chirayu Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I think Athena has written a question. Hi, Athena. So this was the second time I ever heard of the Alvars. How come we don't hear about Alvars more? And are they only in the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya? Yes, Athena, the Alvars, all 12 of them, they are in the Ramanujacharya, Shripad Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, which is the Shri Sampradaya. And the reason we may not be hearing much about them is because at least I don't know much about the Alvars, because it's a different line of Vaishnavism, and we have so many wonderful saints in our line, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and naturally we tend to read and focus more on them. So that may be the reason, but all these Alvars are very wonderful. Someday I would like to tell a story of another Alvar, which is very, very sweet and very inspiring, which I read in a book. So maybe if I get an opportunity in the future, someday I will tell that story. You will like that story, Athena. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna, and wonderful class as always. We're so excited to see you in the lineup. Hope to see you again soon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Questions, comments, devotees? We're over time, but let's take one more.
Yes, Prabhu. It's Bhima.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Did you tell, I don't know whether I missed it because I'm out in the field, so the class cuts in and out every once in a while, but did you tell this story? It's a small, quick story, but it's a lovely story. I'm sorry, I ran up here across the field. Ondol and the wearing of the garland. Do you have that story?
I was going to tell, but we ran out of time. So because you have asked, I will quickly narrate that story.
Yes.
So as Ondol was growing up, her father, Vishnu Chitta, he was very fascinated by her devotion and her purity. One day what happened was, Vishnu Chitta, he came from the garden in the house, and he had already made a garland for Lord Vishnu, and he was about to go and offer it to Lord Vishnu. And when he came in the room where all the articles of worship would be kept, including the garland, he saw something very strange. He saw that his little daughter, Ondol, she was wearing the garland that was meant to be offered to Lord Vishnu. And there was a mirror in that room. And she was looking in the mirror and, adjusting that garland and seeing how she's looking and smiling in the mirror. And she was even dancing with that garland. And Vishnu Chitta was watching that. He was shocked. He said, Andal, what are you doing? We never wear anything that is to be offered to Lord Vishnu. We first offer it to Lord Vishnu, and then we can wear it as a special mercy, as prasad of Lord Vishnu. Why are you wearing it? Now that garland cannot be offered. And he had already plucked all the flowers in the garden and used them for that garland. So he had no more flowers. So that day, Vishnu Chitta could not offer a garland to Lord Vishnu, because he did not offer that garland. He said, oh, you have already worn it. Now it cannot be offered to Krishna. Next day, he made a garland and he made sure Andal did not touch that garland. And then he went, he did his puja, and after puja, he went to offer that garland to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu, he has 4 arms. And with one of his arms, he did like this, wait, to Vishnu Chitta. And he spoke to Vishnu Chitta. He said, why are you offering me this garland now? Why didn't you offer me a garland yesterday? You're supposed to offer me a garland every day. You have been doing that for years. Why didn't you offer a garland yesterday? So Vishnu Chitta looked down. He said, I'm really sorry, my lord. But yesterday the garland was, it could not be offered to you. It could not be offered to you because it was already worn by my daughter. She's a young girl. She's innocent. She didn't know the rules. She wore it. So once she has worn it, how could I have offered it to you? So I could not offer. Please forgive me. Lord Vishnu became very grave and he spoke to Vishnu Chitta. He said, the only reason I am accepting these garlands from you with so much joy and happiness is because every day Andal wears them before you offer them to me. I love my devotees so much that when Andal wears the garland and then it comes to me, it has a very special sweet fragrance and I love it. From today, never offer me a garland that has not been already worn by Andal. Go and let Andal wear it and then bring it back. So that day Vishnu Chitta understood his daughter was extraordinary devotee. She was an extraordinary devotee. So that was Andal, the daughter of Vishnu Chitta. It is also said, this is very sweet, that in Treta Yuga, when Lord Ramachandra came, from the earth, Janak Maharaj got his daughter, Shri Sita Devi. Sita appeared from the ground, from the earth. So Janak Maharaj in Treta Yuga got Sita from the earth. In Dwapar Yuga, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the father of Radharani in Barsana, he got in the village called Raval. Vrishabhanu Maharaj also got Radharani from the earth. So in Dwapar Yuga, Vrishabhanu Maharaj got Radharani from earth. And in Kali Yuga, Vishnu Chitta got Andal from the earth. So like that. She was such a great devotee. So I hope this is okay. Bhima Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Perfect. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we're astounded, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. How do you know that? How many lifetimes have you been practicing bhakti for? Did Krishna reveal that to you?
No lifetime, Prabhu. I'm very ordinary. But can I share something real quick in 10 seconds?
Yeah.
So if you go to YouTube, I simply try to repeat this lecture of my spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. If you go to YouTube and you type, surrender is simple. Surrender is simple. There are 2 lectures, 1 and 2. And Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj tells this story so sweetly, so amazingly in part 1 and part 2 both. It's a beautiful lecture. It's in 2 parts. Surrender is simple, part 1, part 2 by Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. If you just type this on YouTube, you'll get. So if you like this, please listen to the real original lecture.
See, dear devotees, this is a devotee. He doesn't take credit. He doesn't take credit. He passes it on to his spiritual master. Thank you, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, for a wonderful class. And thanks everyone for tuning in, for listening, for contributing to class. See you again tomorrow. Please, all the new people that are on this call today, come tomorrow. Come tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam is every day. Don't drop out. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, we've bound down to you. We look forward to hearing from you next time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for inviting.